When a crime occurs, the job of the first responding officers is to identify the victim and the perpetrator, and to ensure that justice is served. But what happens when the victim and their killer can't be identified? The moniker of John or Jane Doe is given to those who do not have a name. Sometimes these nicknames can be sweet, like Baby Doe or Princess Doe, and other times these nicknames are undignified, such as Septic Tank Sam or Little Miss Nobody. The morning of Friday, September 21st, started out like any other for London residents, making their way through the packed streets and tube stations to make it to work. The atmosphere was tense following the horrific 9/11 attack that had just happened 10 days previously, but in true bulldog spirit, people carried on. By 4 p.m. that Friday evening, London would be shook by the discovery of the torso of a young boy in the River Thames near the London Bridge. The boy was aged approximately between 4 and 7 years old and was wearing a pair of girls' orange running shorts. He was named Adam by the police, with the local tabloids running with the Thames torso. Adam was a black, unidentified child who was aged between 4 and 7, but is most likely believed to be between the ages of 5 and 6. According to the Daily Mail's Ronkie Phillips, the police had chosen to call him Adam because the lack of identity would send the UK into shock. Not only the nature of the horrific crime against the child would propel this into the headlines for weeks on end, but the fact that this would be a murder case without a victim would make more issues for the police in the vital periods during their investigation. Commander Andy Baker even told the press, quote, "His name is Adam, and until we can identify him and his family, we will act as his family." As described by Phillips herself, the post-mortem details are horrific, and details that anyone involved or who knows about this case will never be able to forget. Adam had been poisoned with what is believed to have been a calabar bean, which renders someone paralysed but conscious. He'd been poisoned around 48 hours before he was murdered and sadly met his demise by having his throat slashed. His body was most likely placed upside down as this was happening so that all of the blood could be drained from his body as part of a ritual. His head and all of his limbs had also been removed from the body, leaving just his torso. To add to this, it is estimated that the orange shorts had been added 24 hours post-mortem, with his body being kept for another 24 hours, so a total of 48 hours, before he was placed in the River Thames. Estimates from experts place Adam's time of murder anywhere between 1 and 10 days. At least that's how long his body had been in the river. We know that whoever had murdered him had kept his body for at least 2 days, and that further isotope testing only placed Adam in the UK for a few days before his death. According to Richard Hoskins at the Bath Spa University, who is an expert in the study of religions and African religions, he commented that the ritual and sacrifice looked very similar to a, quote, deviant variety of a West African religion. He said that the person performing this would have done this ritual to gain power. More experts from Scotland Yard commented that they believed that Adam was sacrificed to Orisha, or one of the 400 ancestral gods of the Yoruba people, which is Nigeria's second largest ethnic group. The link is made for a few reasons. 1. Ocean is a river goddess, and Adam was found in a river. 2. Ocean is associated with the colour orange, hence the orange shorts that Adam's body was found wearing. And 3, forensic testing of Adam's body actually linked him to Benin City, which is in Nigeria. In Adam's stomach were also tiny clay pellets which contained pure gold, which is linked to a style of ritualistic killings called muti. These sacrifices hold children as sacred objects and are most often practiced in sub-Saharan parts of Africa, with the bodies of the children then being disposed in flowing water to complete the ritual. Dr. Hoskins of Bath University also revealed to the Daily Mail that in some forms of African witchcraft, dismembered parts are used as medicine. Internal organs are used as potions, with fingers, eyeballs, and sometimes even genitals being used as charms. The head is most often buried in the front of the home to ward off bad spirits. This vital information from Dr. Hoskins may explain why only Adam's torso was found, and why his body has been dismembered with such precision, as this process was just as much as part of the ritual as anything else. The pathologist also commented that it appeared that the knife had been sharpened between each single cut, further adding to that idea that this was a ritualistic killing. In Adam's case, it is heavily believed that the remainder of his body, his limbs and his head, were disposed of in the Thames as part of the ritual. Now, this part actually contradicts the previous points I've just mentioned about these parts being used in medicine. However, it is entirely possible that each subsection or religion or different group holds their own individual practices. As Adam's torso wasn't delivered until 4 p.m. on September 21st, 2001, the tide had actually gone in and out over 2 times that day, meaning that anything that had been floating on the river with him would most likely be lost at sea without anyone else being able to find it. Let's go back to the isotope testing. It is heavily believed that Adam was trafficked into the UK via Germany and sold to the highest bidder so he could be used as part of a voodoo ritual. A tip actually led police to a woman called Joyce Oseji, who resided in Glasgow after Adam was found. Joyce was a prime suspect, and police heavily believed that she was involved in one way or another in Adam's case. They faced the issue of a huge lack of evidence and the fact that she had been back to deported to Nigeria following some doubts around her mental state. BBC journalists actually travelled to Benin City, Nigeria, along with former detective Nick Chalmers, who had previously worked on Adam's case as part of the Metropolitan Police. Forensic testing had previously linked Adam to Benin City, so for the BBC and the ex-detective, this seemed like the next sensible step and a possible lead. When she spoke to the BBC, Joyce revealed that she had looked after Adam in the weeks leading up to his murder, but then he was sent to London. She also told them that he had been trafficked and his final destination was, in fact, London. Joyce then dropped a startling revelation in the case. She gave the boy's name. According to her, the boy was Patrick Harbour, and his mother had the surname of Ahogo. Joyce and Patrick met when she was, quote, given the child during her time in Germany. Patrick had been handed over into her care as a favour for the mother of Patrick, and according to Joyce, this was done because Adam's mother was due to be deported. After Patrick had been cared for by Joyce for a few weeks, she passed him over to a man known as Bawa, which, when you translate that through Google Translate into Malay, it means to take or take it. I'm not sure if that has any significance in this case. Bawa? Well, he's been formally identified as Kingsley Oj, who first gained asylum in London in 1997. As of right now, there's no forensic evidence that links Kingsley to the murder of Adam, or that he is any way involved in the trafficking of Adam. Kingsley was arrested in connection to Adam's case in 2002 after police found that he had been using 3 different identities. The only evidence that police have on Kingsley is a plastic bag that they found in his flat which contained bone fragments as well as sands and flecks of gold, which are very similar to those that were found in Adam's stomach. It has never been revealed if this evidence was ever tested, so we don't know if these bones were simply like animal bones. In Kingsley's flat, the police found a video that was titled Rituals, and the video was like a B-movie which shows an actor, quote, cutting off the head of a man. As suspected, Kingsley denied that this video was actually his and that it belonged to his housemates. Again, police couldn't establish any connection in this video to Adam's case, so that lead fizzled out. Adam's case went cold again for 2 years. That was until 2004 when Kingsley was arrested for people smuggling, which I believe is a step down from being charged with human trafficking. Interestingly, during his 4.5-year prison sentence, he actually reached out to the Metropolitan Police and offered to help them with the investigation into Adam. As no evidence was uncovered in 2002 and Kingsley had not come forward with information since, the Met Police just determined that he was wasting their time in hopes of getting his sentence reduced or even released in exchange for his cooperation. For wasting the police time, Kingsley was deported back to Nigeria. In a further attempt to identify poor, sweet Adam, the police submitted evidence and tirelessly scoured databases for Britain and Europe's missing children, but sadly to no avail. Due to the 9/11 attacks that happened just weeks before the case, it was really hard to gain traction and get media attention at the time. In 2003, the Metropolitan Police travelled to Nigeria in hopes of spreading awareness and hopefully tracking down Adam's parents. They also travelled there to further investigate the link between Adam's death and the occult, and in South Africa they met detectives and muti experts and the South African Police Service. The South African Police Service suggested that Adam's death was most definitely ritualistic and that his orange shorts suggested that Adam and the killer knew each other and were possibly even related. The colour red in muti rituals is symbolic of resurrection, and they theorised that his killer or killers were trying to apologise to his soul in hopes that he may, quote, rise again. The orange shorts are also linked to the goddess Ocean that I spoke about earlier, which is featured heavily in Nigerian voodoo religions. Either way, the main theory is that Adam was killed by someone who knew him very well or was related to him. The main and only real theory in Adam's case is that his death is linked to religion and the practice of Orisha or some sort of voodoo ritualistic magic. Whoever performed this ritual was doing so to gain power. It also seems that Adam was possibly part of a wider ring of human trafficking into the UK so that adults would be able to perform these rituals. Adam's mother may have sold him to one of these rings because she might have been desperate for money, or if Joyce's story is to be believed, she thought that she would be giving her son a better life after she was deported. It's also possible that Adam's mother left him with Joyce, and Joyce was in fact the one who sold Adam into trafficking, after promising his mother that he would have a better life with her in Germany. There is some evidence behind the human trafficking theory, as in July of 2002, a Nigerian woman arrived from Germany into the UK claiming that she had fled from a Yoruba cult that had been practicing ritual murders such as Adam's. She further claimed that the cult had tried to kill her son for ritualistic purposes, and that she knew that Adam had been murdered in London by his own parents. Police conducted a search of her apartment and found a pair of orange shorts with the same brand label as the ones that Adam was found wearing in 2001. Surveillance of the woman led them to none other, you can guess who this led to, Kingsley Oj, who had been named in Adam's case before. As I mentioned, there is no physical evidence to link either Joyce or Kingsley to the murder or trafficking of Adam, so no charges have ever been laid against them. Whilst there are many other theories floating around surrounding Adam's murder, the torso found in the Thames on September 21st, 2001 has never been identified, and the exact circumstances surrounding his death remain a mystery. The saddest part of Adam's case is the fact that there is a 5 or 6-year-old boy that remains nameless and unclaimed. It is incredibly sad that Adam does not have any relatives that want to come forward to claim his body. Perhaps it's because they are unaware that he is missing, or it's because they are involved. If you have any information that can lead to the identification of Adam or the people or persons responsible for his death, please contact the Metropolitan Police on 101 or by using their online contact form, which I will leave a link for in the description. You can also leave an anonymous tip by calling Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111, or you can use the Crime Stoppers website. If you are overseas, please contact your nearest police station, Interpol, or Europol station, and they'll be able to direct you in the right place. Thank you for giving Adam's case a minute of your time. I hope that in the coming months or years I'll be able to bring you a video where I update you about Adam's case. It's a case I've personally been following for a while. With that being said, stay safe and stay spooky.